Hello, I'm Harold, and this is, believe it or not, my 100th video. It sort of snuck up on me, uh, you know, unexpected, and the reason I've done 100 is you guys keep showing up and encouraging me to get up here and talk to you or show you something or whatever. But anyway, uh, when you get 100 of something, and really I'm surprised I did 100 because the whole theme of my channel is that whatever you see me do here is probably the first time I ever did it. And I would guess that probably 75% of the videos are about something I never did before. And so you get to see me stumbling and fumbling through it and everything, and playing with machine shop stuff. That my coffee's ready. And playing with machine shop stuff and such. And I'm not a real machinist. I'm just an old redneck here doing this. And so anyway, to celebrate having a 100 videos and folks still watching, I'm going to give away this fine Tom Lipton book here. It's got his name right here on the bottom. And all you got to do to get it is put in the comments, "I want the book." Because there could be some other rednecks watching this, and I wanted to keep it simple so you can understand how to do it. All you got to do is put in the comments, "I want the book." And what I'm going to do is I'll make a list, put a number by everybody's name, and then I'm going to take a CD like this. And now, I looked all over the house for an AOL CD. Remember them? They used to send me one practically every day, it seemed like, but I'm sure it was like every week maybe. And sometimes you'd have a big old stack of those things laying around. But I didn't find one. I guess they went out with the garbage. But anyway, I'm going to put all your numbers on CD like this, and I'm going to tape a string on the top of it so it'll spin around and blow in the breeze and stuff. And I'm going to take it out to the shooting club, and I'm going to take one of my 22 pistols, and I'm going to take a shot at it, and then we'll see if I hit the thing or not. And if I did, we'll see if I got inside of somebody's square there. The most of the bullet inside the square is going to be the guy that gets it. I'm sure that it won't be dead on, in one of them. And I'll just keep firing away at it until I finally hit it. I'll take a shot and go check. But anyway, that's all you got to do. Just put down in the comments, "I want the book." And if you're the guy that gets shot, you're the guy that's got it. So it's oh, yeah, I want to thank you guys for keeping on showing up, because otherwise I would have I'd have stopped showing up here too. But all right, let's get on with the regular video. Hello, I'm Harold. I I imagine that you've probably at some time or another had a GPS in your hands. I imagine most of you probably got a GPS that either built into your phone or a standalone unit that you stick in your car, or maybe one that's built into your car. And I've always kind of liked playing with stuff like that. Here was a GPS, one of my first ones that went into a pocket PC. I got a couple of these that I don't use anymore, but at one time they were handy to keep all my notes in, and that and do calculations one thing or another. And this this right here is a GPS receiver. It picks up 20 channels, and it works quite well. And I got it to work the bugs out of a little piece of software. I had some safety shutdown systems that were run by what they call programmable logic controllers. Some were Modicon, some Triconics, that sort of thing. And one would be a quarter of a mile off this way, and another be a mile down that way, and another one a half a mile over there. And I didn't want to get out and drive down there, every time I wanted to check on them, see how they were doing. So I discovered there's a lot of fiber abandoned there in the evil polluting refinery. So I had the guys hook them up to all of the different I/O rooms and run them down to my office. And so I got a network going there, and there was a lot of human-machine interfaces, which is what you call a PC with a screen that looks at stuff and lets you operate things that I had set up. And when something happens, something trips off or whatever, there's always the people that come by to investigate want to know, well, exactly what time did that happen. Well, you set up several PCs and they're not on a regular network, the time's going to drift apart on those guys. And so I got to thinking about it, and I read around a little bit, and the network guys, they have a GPS that they use as a time server. It supplies the time, on one of their computers. Of course, theirs cost, I don't know, thousands of dollars, and some proprietary device. But being a redneck, I figured I could make one out of some baling wire, But so what I did was I got this little guy right here, and sat around the house here and worked out a little program that would read the information from the satellite, and feed it in, and I could glean the time out of it and use it to set the time on the computers on my network. And what comes in are called NEMA sentences. That's the things that come into your GPS from the satellite. And I don't know if you've ever wondered what the GPS is seeing from the satellites or not, but I'm going to show you. And hang on 1 minute and I'll get my book. Before we get to the book, I guess I ought to finish the story there on setting up my own time server, though. I checked around this guy in California that sold marine GPS receivers, and he had one that was pretty cheap, I guess $150, $250, something like that. And so I ordered it, and it was what they called a bulkhead receiver. It looked like it had a dome on top, kind of like a mushroom with the tail sticking out the bottom. So my office was in a 1-floor building, so I went outside, climbed the ladder, and got up there, made a bracket, mounted that receiver on it, and then I had a whole lot of USB cable, more than the law allows, I guess. But anyway, in the sides of the building where all the data cables and power cables and all this come in, they're rubber grommets with the wires running through them, and so I found a nice cable that was just bringing in data, and I shoved my wire in past it and ran it down through the ceiling and right down through the ceiling into my office. And there's where I had a PC that was networked with all the other PCs in various control rooms that I had, looking at the safety systems and keeping the operators able to control those things. So I imagine after I left, when people found all that stuff and they were switching over to the new control system, they must have wondered what the heck that cable is coming out of the ceiling and where it goes. But I bet nobody was energetic enough to go outside and follow it to the end. That GPS is probably still sitting up there on the roof, bleaching out in the sun. But anyway, now we'll go get the book. I always get the letters out of order. It's actually NMEA sentences, and NMEA stands for National Marine Electronics Association. So there you go. And these sentences that come in from the satellite will be just like a string of characters, one string after another, just like they were printed out on a printer. And you'll have something like a $sign, and then maybe it'll say GPGGA. All right. And in that particular message, you have the message ID, which is the GPGGA, and then you have the UTC time in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the next 10 characters is the UTC time, all right, which is what I was interested in. And then you get the latitude and the north-south indicator and the longitude and position fixed indicator, the satellites that it's using, and all that sort of thing. And I'm reading out of this little book I put together to help myself with the situation. So what you do is you hook up to your GPS device and you let it start sending this data into you, and you just filter out the pieces you want. I wrote a little program with Visual Basic that received these sentences one right after the other and kept the time current. So what I'll show you, here's a little screen dump that comes from my software. If you'll hang on just a minute, I'll crank it up. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I've got Blue Soleil running here, and it's already paired up the GPS USB dongle there to the GPS receiver. And I'll come down here and crank up all apps, and we'll find my little program here. Here we go. Oop. Bounced it right back away from it. All right, here we go. We'll crank this little guy up. Here starts out somewhere in there. I have it set to use whatever port the stuff's coming in on. I think it's on port 6. Let's see if we see it. There we go. So now we're picking up 12 satellites, and you can see the little strength meter there in the little bar, and these are the satellite numbers that I'm receiving. And if we come over to the debug area, and I put in the password, which I haven't used in many years, you start to see the NMEA sentences come rolling in. Okay, and these guys are coming in faster than just about faster than you can keep up with scrolling the window there. And my software is parsing each one of these sentences to come up with the time. Here's your UTC time, it's 1955. Here's the system time. Now I'm getting this time from Microsoft, so I would expect it would be well, you know, it's part of a second slow, because it's, you know, not fresh right out of the satellite like I'm getting from the receiver there. Okay, I've got this thing set that every 7 minutes it's gonna reset the system time, which Windows 10 doesn't like that. If I try to reset the system time on Windows 10, it just bombs out. It won't accept it. Normally for this, you would put in here the time that daylight savings time starts and when daylight savings time ends, and this is saved in an INI file so that every time this thing cranks up, it comes up knowing what port to be on, what baud rate, and all that sort of thing. And I don't have to go digging around like I just did. But I don't remember exactly what structure I told the INI file to have. And so naturally I didn't crank it up with the valid INI file. And so it didn't crank up knowing what port to be on or anything, and nor when daylight savings time starts or ends, because it'll adjust the time that it sets the system to based on that. Anyway, we're going to go back to the NMEA sentences, and we'll look at some of them and tell it to stop receiving them and just leave them sitting right there. And I will get the book here and see what I can tell you that each one of those might mean. Let's say let's look at GPGGA, which I think is a good one to get the time and date out of. All right. All right. Let's here is a GPGSA, that one right there. And what we got here is the first thing is the mode, which is A. And there's a table that tells you what mode A is. 2D automatic, allowed to automatically switch from 2D to 3D. All right, and the next thing over, this 3, is mode 2. And that says C table 1-8, mode 3 says 3D. Okay, and then we go over here to the next spot. That's the satellite user, so that must be satellite 18. Okay, and that's on channel 1. On channel 2, we have satellite 29. All right, and it goes like this all the way through 12 channels. So we can say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and probably get to 12 in there. And then we get down here. Position, dilution of precision, horizontal dilution of precision, vertical dilution of precision, and the checksum for that message. When you send a serial message, you have a checksum stuck onto the end of it, and that's 33 is the checksum. 74 is the checksum over here, 7B there, 72 here. You see, each sentence has got its own thing. So GPS-V, let me find the exact table on that one. And I'm working as fast as I can here. All right, GP, let's see, here we go. Here's an interesting one. GPGGA. Okay, now that one starts off with the very first thing after the message identification there was the UTC time. Okay, and the format is hour, hour, minute, minute, second, second, and then a period, and then the hundredths of a second right there. So this is hour, hour, it's hour 19, minute 55, second 5, and no thousandths of a second. The next thing is the latitude indicator, and north or south is indicated down here. And then we have the longitude indicator, which is over here. And then we know whether that's west because there's a W. And position fixed indicator, it says 1, see table 1-4, which must undoubtedly be right over here. 1-4 says 1 is GPS SPS mode, fixed valid. Okay. And the next one is 06. That's the satellite used. That's the satellite's number. And HDOP is a horizontal dilution of position. The units on this are meters. Okay, now that's the attitude in meters. I imagine this is getting kind of long. It's hard to read from the table. But as you can see, when these sentences come in, I look for things like GPGGA. That would be a much more important thing to me than a lot of the others. You can see this guy here, GPZDA. These two guys are bringing the time in. GPRMC, that's another one with the time. And it's just easily recognizable there. And so I only look for certain prefixes on these messages. I don't care about this one or this one here or that one. I don't know. I don't really care what satellite it is. I just want the time out of these three here. So out of the big variety of messages that come in, I can handle everything I want out of 3 different message types. Okay, so we're going to go and end this screen capture, I guess. If you come over here, you can see there's the UTC time. There's the system time. Here's the setup with the port setting. Shows the 12 satellites that are active. And the time is stopped there right now because I've stopped everything. I think it's starting to go again. Anyway, I'm going to stop the program, and it's still connected. The PC is still connected to the Bluetooth, and we will end this part. I never used that particular piece of screen capture software before. It worked really nice. It was NCH Studio, and I guess that you could say that's the free trial version. Being a thrifty person, I usually tend to use a lot of free stuff. It's nice. I just kept this book just in case I wanted to go back and mess with GPS stuff again in the future. And I guess that probably that may be more than you wanted to know about what's coming in through your GPS. But if the guys would, instead of showing you the map with the pretty little car, they could show you the sentences that are coming in, and you'd see what data that the GPS is gathering from the satellite. I started at one time to make a little mapping utility, and I had the the data available and stuff, and I looked at it, and it was a pretty big job, and I thought, well, I'm not going to do a pretty big job when I've got 2 or 3 different GPS devices and 2 or 3 different pieces of GPS software already, and I just why bother with it, This was with a pocket PC. This was pretty good, and it would get me places, but it had its faults, and a lot of the faults were part of the fault of the pocket PC. I ran this same software on another device, and it worked really good on the other device, better than it did on the pocket PC. The wife has a Garmin that she uses in her car, and I've got one of those Pharos GPSs. I got it for about $40 somewhere, and they'll lead you to places you can't find. Sometimes they'll lead you to places you shouldn't be because the road's not there. I remember we were in Austin one time looking for Walmart, and it took us to a Walmart, and we got there, and it was a planned location for a future Walmart, and no telling how long it had been planned, and I bet there's still not one there, but it took us there. So we had to pick out another Walmart a little bit further away because we were out in the country in wide open pasture, I guess that's enough of the GPS stuff, and we'll end this thing with a redneck joke, and then we'll just say good night or goodbye or good day or what the heck ever it is. Well, it seems like Bubba went to night school and weekend school and whatever, and he got himself an accounting degree, and it was pretty rough because Bubba was deaf, but he got through the whole thing, and so he went to working for this Godfather in the mafia there, and he got kind of greedy. Bubba did, and he kept some of the money, maybe $10 million, not a whole lot, but enough that it was noticed by the Godfather. And the Godfather, he had hired Bubba because he was deaf, so that way he figured that he couldn't hear anything that he'd have to testify about in court, and so the Godfather wants his money back, and he goes and gets his lawyer, and his lawyer can do sign language and such, and so the Godfather takes his lawyer over to Bubba, and he asked him, says, ask him where my $10 million is, and so the lawyer signs him, that where's the money, and Bubba signs back, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, the Godfather, he gets kind of upset about that, and he says, will you tell him, if he don't tell me where the money's at, I'm going to blow his brains out. And he gets out his, big pistol there, and so the attorney tells Bubba there, he says, you better tell where the money is because he's going to kill you. And Bubba says, oh, okay, you win. He signed back, he says, the money's in a brown briefcase buried behind the shed in my cousin Elmo's backyard in Queens, and what these rednecks are doing in Queens, I don't know. But anyway, so the Godfather asked the attorney, well, what did he say? The attorney looked at him and said, well, he says you don't have the balls to pull the trigger. Everybody needs a good lawyer, you know. Anyway, so I'm glad you stopped by to look at the GPS stuff, and it was probably a lot of hemming and hawing around and not very slick, but what can you expect from an old redneck anyway, right? So if you'd like to subscribe, that would tickle me to death, and if you'd like to make a comment, that'd make me even more happy. And if you want to hit the like button or not, that's up to you, because it's a personal thing. But anyway, y'all come back again, and